Picture this. You're tasked with solving a seriously complex, difficult business problem. Would you go out and choose 10 people who all think exactly the same way? Or would you build a team of people with totally different backgrounds, unique experiences, and varying perspectives? When you frame it like that, it's a pretty obvious choice, right? I mean, picking 10 identical thinkers actually reveals a massive logical flaw, because a lack of diverse viewpoints inherently limits the range of potential solutions you can come up with. The most successful organizations out there choose diversity for this exact reason. Different viewpoints literally lead to better ideas, sharper decisions, and a whole lot more innovation.
And that obvious choice brings us to the heart of today's explainer, and honestly, one of the absolute highest priorities for organizations across the globe today: diversity and inclusion in the workplace. You see, modern organizations just aren't limited to one city or one country anymore. We're operating in this highly connected global business environment. Employees today bring an incredible array of different cultures, religions, genders, age groups, educational backgrounds, and life experiences to the table. And what we're going to see is how the ability to effectively manage all this diversity has evolved. It's no longer just some nice-to-have HR initiative. It is an absolute game changer and a fundamental key factor in driving organizational success.
So, here is our roadmap for today. 1. Defining diversity and inclusion. 2. The business case. 3. Real-world corporate action. 4. Overcoming unconscious bias. And finally, number 5, cultivating true belonging.
Let's dive right into Section 1, defining diversity and inclusion. We need to make sure we're establishing a shared language here. You'll often hear these two terms lumped together as just D&I, but they are actually very distinct concepts. Diversity is really about representation. It's the presence of differences among employees. Think of it as being invited to the party. But here's the catch. Diversity alone just isn't enough. Inclusion, on the other hand, means creating a workplace where every single employee feels welcomed, respected, and valued. It's all about participation. It's being asked to dance. So diversity brings different people through the front doors, for sure, but inclusion is what ensures they feel respected and actually empowered to contribute their absolute best work once they're inside.
The crucial takeaway here is that diversity isn't just one single thing. It covers this vast, rich spectrum of human identity. Obviously, it includes demographic factors like gender, age, race, and nationality, but it also extends way beyond that into religion and culture, your educational background, physical abilities, your work experience, your personality, and even different ways of thinking. When we talk about diversity, we're really talking about the entire tapestry of human experience that employees bring with them to the office every single day.
Moving right along to Section 2, the business case. Let's look at why organizations actually care about this.
Let's talk bottom line, because these 4 core pillars prove the tangible value of these initiatives. First up, better decision-making. When people from totally different backgrounds work together, they bring varying perspectives, which naturally leads to far more creative solutions. Second, increased innovation. Innovation happens when people think differently and actively challenge existing assumptions. That's how you stay competitive. Third, higher engagement. It's pretty simple. Employees who feel respected are just more motivated and productive. And finally, improved retention. People want to work where they're treated fairly, which leads to lower turnover. In fact, multiple global studies show that organizations with diverse leadership teams frequently outperform their competitors. Why? Because they actually understand their diverse customer base better and make far more balanced decisions.
All right, Section 3, real-world corporate action. Let's see how megacorporations are actually executing this.
Let's look at how the heavy hitters take concrete action at scale. Take Starbucks, for example. After a highly publicized racial discrimination incident, they didn't just put out a PR apology, they literally temporarily closed thousands of stores nationwide to conduct racial bias training. It showed how real, positive action can follow a mistake. Moving down the list, Microsoft has made this a huge strategic priority with dedicated teams and comprehensive training to boost innovation. Then you have Apple, who focuses heavily on the data, publishing annual transparency reports and setting measurable goals to guarantee accountability. And Accenture shows a massive commitment to a gender-balanced workforce alongside really strong LGBTQ+ support, proving that diversity really does encompass every aspect of human identity.
Next up is Section 4, overcoming unconscious bias. We have to address the invisible challenge in the room.
And the absolute biggest of those invisible challenges is unconscious bias. This refers to the automatic assumptions or judgments that we all make completely without realizing it. It's so vital to understand how this works because it operates entirely below our conscious radar, yet it deeply influences hiring decisions, performance evaluations, and everyday workplace relationships. Just picture a well-meaning manager reviewing resumes. They might unknowingly favor a candidate simply because they went to the same university or share similar background. Now, this doesn't necessarily come from a place of malice, but it unintentionally reduces diversity and really undermines the fairness of the entire hiring process.
So, to combat this invisible problem, organizations have to be incredibly intentional. Google actually provides a fantastic blueprint here. They don't just sit back and hope for the best. They actively use a very structured approach. They mandate unconscious bias training for all of their managers. They insist on structured, standardized interviews and completely objective evaluation criteria so everyone is being judged on the exact same scale. And they also use blind recruitment. This is such a fascinating strategy. Personal details like names or photos are totally stripped away from applications before a hiring manager ever even sees them. It ensures that those initial evaluations are based purely on merit and skill, completely removing the opportunity for unconscious bias to creep in.
Finally, we reach Section 5, cultivating true belonging. This is the human element of business. This is the deeply human concept that anchors all of these corporate initiatives. Belonging is the ultimate goal here. It means employees feel entirely accepted, appreciated, and profoundly connected to their organization. And when that happens, employees become more confident, they collaborate way more effectively, and their performance just skyrockets. Think of companies like Airbnb. They developed Project Lighthouse to fight discrimination and actually established dedicated diversity, belonging, and inclusion teams. They quite literally added belonging right into the title, because they know that providing resources to ensure everyone feels that deep connection is exactly what transforms a diverse workforce into a unified, high-performing team.
A super effective, structured way to cultivate that sense of belonging is through employee resource groups, or ERGs for short. These groups bring together employees who share common interests or backgrounds, and they do a lot of heavy lifting. They create essential safe spaces for shared experiences, they provide vital networking opportunities, they offer both emotional and professional support, and crucially, they deliver incredibly valuable feedback right back to management about workplace policies. Meta is a brilliant example of this, utilizing ERGs for women, Black employees, and LGBTQ+ employees to systematically build those safe spaces and create those essential feedback loops directly to leadership.
I want to read this directly because it hits the nail on the head. Great leaders recognize talent without bias, respect differences without discrimination, and build workplaces where every individual feels a true sense of belonging. Whether you are a current executive, a brand new manager, or maybe you're stepping into a leadership role sometime in the future, your ultimate responsibility is to champion these exact principles. It's not just about managing people, it's about actively fostering an environment of equal opportunity and exponential growth. So I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. We've seen the data, we've defined the terms, and we've explored the strategies of the world's most successful mega companies. But knowledge is only powerful if you actually apply it. So, the next time you're building a team, running a meeting, or stepping into a leadership role, how are you going to turn your workplace party into an inclusive dance? What specific, concrete actions are you going to take tomorrow to ensure that everyone on your team is not just invited, but is enthusiastically asked to dance? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this empowers you to go out and build a more inclusive future.